if you have a preference of Rites of Spring over Embrace or vice versa, let us know.
Actually,
what you think.
Dude, argue amongst yourselves about
amongst yourselves.
Welcome to Every Album Ever with Mike and Alex. My name is Michael Mansour. I'm joined as always by my lovely, wonderful, handsome co-host Alexander Volt. Say hello.
Still messing with the mic position. Hello.
Always will. Not until I upgrade the mics and get better of these things because these are rather annoying.
So weird.
So goddamn annoying, actually.
Yeah.
It's Every Album Ever, the podcast where we listen to every single album in the world, one artist at a time. That's a new discography per episode. And today we'll be discussing the very, very short discography of
Rites of Spring.
Indeed. You forgot who we were talking about today, didn't you?
No, I didn't. Because sometimes things sound good in my head. I didn't want to say Rite of Spring.
Rite of Spring is the original. Is the ballet in the composition was based off of?
Yes.
By Igor Stravinsky. I'm a nerd, by the way. I'm obsessed with that.
Yes. So I didn't want to say Rite of Spring. I wanted to make sure there was an S on there.
Actually,
and get it right.
We need to do a Rite of Spring Patreon episode because I'm obsessed with it. I'm like obsessed with it.
Yeah.
Like, I really, really love that piece and I love the ballet.
Oh shit. Yeah.
Like, what the hell are we talking? Well, hold on. I probably shouldn't even. I just threw off my whole
you did.
flow. But it's so good. It was so innovative. It caused a riot on its opening night. It's really weird and kind of creepy. And I think I'm going to cover one of the pieces in it. But yeah, if you want to help support us, you can do all this stuff. You subscribe. You know what to do. If you want to help us, you get it. Unless you're like 70 years old, in which case hit buttons. Buttons are good. We also covered Embrace a while back.
Yes.
I don't remember which episode it was, but you can find a link in the description. And if you're on YouTube, it'll pop up right now.
As well as Fugazi.
The Minor Threat.
Farrakhat. We should just make a Discord
playlist?
Yes.
Actually, that's a really good idea. Discord playlist, a fucking Melvin's playlist, obviously. A grunge playlist? All this shit that we do too many of.
There's another playlist I'll suggest to you when we're done recording.
Right. But along with Embrace, Rites of Spring is often credited as inventing the earliest form of emo, which Guy Picciotto is not too fond of, which I think is pretty funny.
Yes.
But it's also, everything comes from somewhere, and this is where that came from, more or less. So go check out the Embrace episode. You could also find the full Rites of Spring album or album and EP, whatever the hell it is we're discussing. You can find all that, links to all that in the description. Patreon.com, last plug. /Every Album Ever. Bonus episodes, early access, certain episodes, discounts off merch, and of course, Tier 2 gets to jump the line when requesting an artist. We have a whole bunch of Patreon requested episodes coming up, and some that I haven't even added to the schedule because I keep forgetting, but they will be done and we will do them. You could also just send a standard email with a request, but there's a lower, about 1,000% lower likelihood that we'll get to that anytime soon.
Or bribe us.
Or you can bribe us.
If you don't want to deal with the Patreon thing.
You can bribe us. I've been thinking of like, what is it? Not payment plans, but like pricing. That's the word.
Oh,
pricing for bribery, because we have people bribing us, and let's just say the guy who's bribing us is the best, and he just doesn't care and he just throws a bunch of money.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say no, but I don't know how to handle those in terms of like making it official. So I'll figure that out at some point. But for now, throw money at us. It'll help. And okay, that's about it for plugs. So
yes. Kind of got a little mishmashed here, but as well as starting emo, part of Revolution Summer
1985,
which is there's one other band, Beefeater.
Yeah.
When we get around to that, I will try to do more research on it because the Wikipedia page is abysmal. Yes.
And honestly, like I brought it up with the Embrace episode and probably the Minor Threat episode, the 20 years of Discord box set that I bought when it came out, literally 20 years ago. That's where I learned a lot about DC hardcore and DC bands in general, and Discord especially, obviously, because it's a record label. But even there's very little information on Revolution Summer. It's just like, oh, they were a part of the thing that became known as Revolution Summer, and that was very influential, and then they died immediately.
Yeah, and I would like to read more about like the movement.
I think there's a book on it. blanking on
books.
they're good.
They are good.
Although I forget the name of the main one that talks about all that DC stuff, but I was a big fan of Michael Azarad's This Band Could Be Your Life.
Oh yeah.
And there's stuff in there about it as well, along with like every good band and a lot of those that we've covered, like Mission Impairment, Minor Threat, and Fugazi, Butthole Surfers. We covered all those. This is a good episode, so do that if you haven't yet. But yeah, I don't really know anything about it. Other than that, it was
influential,
super influential in that it was the DC hardcore scene, I believe, died around 83, which is like way. Oh, not way. It was still going pretty strong in other parts of the country.
Mm-hmm.
83 was not like at all the nail in the coffin for hardcore, but for DC it kind of was. Like I think it got overtaken by skinheads and everything was just so angry and violent. And Ian was like, "Fuck this!" Like all the good bands broke up. We don't even know what we're doing. And then the wave came with Rites of Spring and Embrace and stuff like that, where it's like it's very hardcore in essence, very punk like, but it's different. It's a little bit deeper. It's a little bit further off into something that doesn't exist yet.
Yes. That sounds about right. Also, I have not listened to them. I think we talked about it on the Faircat episode a little bit, or maybe the Embrace one. Another influenced by the Faith.
What was that? The band The Faith?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a huge Faith fan.
No, I was saying Rites of Spring.
Oh, Rites of Spring.
Yeah.
Oh, they shared a guitarist.
Okay.
So there was a lot of inbreeding with these DC bands, like a lot. So I mentioned it on the Embrace episode. Embrace is okay. I'm already the Faith. Let's start with the Faith because they were
start
first.
there. Yes, that's the like big one.
Yeah, the Faith is an incredible hardcore band. They put out the split LP with Void, and then they put out one EP after that. That was like they added a second guitarist. It was way more. It was a lot deeper. It was still hardcore, but it was very musical, and they're a very good band. They broke up and led. The singer for the Faith was Alec McKay. I think his name was Alec McKay. E. McKay's younger brother.
Okay.
The Faith breaks up. Every member of the Faith, except one guitarist, goes with Ian, and they form Embrace. So he's just singing for his brother's band, essentially.
Yeah.
The one guitarist who didn't join Embrace joined Rites of Spring.
Okay.
Along with Guy Picciotto and Brendan Canty, eventually a Fugazi.
Yes.
And then one other guy, Michael Hampton? Is that his name? I'm just throwing a name out of thin air. I hope that's it.
Usually I write the band members down. Did I do Mike Fellows?
Mike Fellows. Okay. The fact that it was a Mike is a complete coincidence.
Yes.
And the other, what was it? Eddie Janey? Was that the guy from the Faith?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So everyone was knew each other. Everyone. So I'm talking a lot. Sorry.
Well, you should, because this is one of those ones where I'm like, the Wikipedia's not informative, but I'm like, I know Mike knows about this stuff, so I know he's got it. I know he's got it covered.
A little bit of it. Like, so the funny thing about all these bands, Embrace and Rites of Spring, I keep jumping to those two because the two that I know the most about. They did like no shows. They did like 9 shows or 15 shows. I forgot how many Rites of Spring did. They might have done like 9, not a lot. But they were still widely popular and everybody knew them. And it's because like there's the community was so small and like close knit. Everybody knew each other. So you didn't really need to play that many for everyone to kind of be familiar. And not to mention, I'm pretty sure the Rites of Spring was a wild band live, like destroying their equipment kind of stuff.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
Yeah. And I mean, because even knowing Guy's history on stage, like his early days in Fugazi before he joined on second guitar. I mean that clip from Instrument where he's hanging off the basketball hoop, and then ended up getting really injured. Like wild motherfuckers.
Because this is a short episode. I don't know if their music's good, but I was looking at clips of this newer band. I think they're called Fever 333. Their frontman is a crazy person. Like,
what is he doing?
He's like climbing, like playing outside festivals and like climbing to the very top of the
scaffolding.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah. He's jumping off of things. He's like throwing himself on stage. Like,
oh man. Yeah. We need people. I mean, they're going to die sooner, but we need people like that to to be that extreme end of the spectrum where we have the Slints and the Tools on the other end where they just stand there and do nothing, but it's okay because they're
Plus, Tool has like visuals.
Oh yeah, they do have that added benefit. But in their very short lifespan, they only put out 2 records, one full length that was self-titled, and then one EP that was released posthumously. I think they broke up after it was done mixing or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
The album came out 85, EP came out 1987. And this is this thing that it's covering both of them on streaming. You'll find it all as Rites of Spring. It's to everything. It was originally released as End on End, but then they just changed the name on streaming. I don't even understand it.
Yeah.
But we might as well jump into it. So I will talk slower. Make sure you got it queued up. This is
got it.
Well, the End on End was released in 1991, but technically 85 and 87. So here it is.
Really wanted to be reaching out to find a way to get back to where we've been, and it's summer left to try, but nothing left to try. This time,
Very, just basically hardcore. It's like DC hardcore.
Yeah,
and there was no one there to know.
it's a little more fun to me than like.
It's very fun.
Yeah.
It's a lot tighter too.
Yes, they are great musicians. I was not expecting. This song isn't the best example, but I wasn't expecting there to be like riffs that I could like latch onto immediately.
There's a lot of riffs here.
I do like that.
Which I wasn't expect. It was a very pleasant surprise, but yeah.
So this is widely regarded as a classic, and people.
Also, I've never listened to them. This is my first time. First time listening to them.
I haven't heard this in so many years. It was like, I remember this. It's a classic for many people, not for me.
Really,
I like it just fine, but I always opted for Embrace when it came down to like this whole. This whole era.
Yeah, I think between the two, I'm right.
I had a feeling. I just knew it. Yeah. The same way, like it's with the like Drive Like G-Hue and stuff. Where I just have different taste, buddy. Just different taste.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like almost this. Also produced by the first 12 tracks on here. The first album.
Produced, the album. Yeah. I think it's 13. No, it's 12 plus a bonus track.
Yeah. Produced by Ian MacKaye.
And Don Zientaro, who did basically every Discord record ever.
Yeah, he's
just the guy. I still don't think I've ever seen a photo of his face. If I found one, you'll see it on the video now.
He's a mythical being.
I know, with a crazy last name. So that opener, Spring, I like it a lot. It's not my favorite opener, but out the gate, you already understand what the whole album is. It's very much that, like, really. I think the bass lines are pretty much the highlight here. In terms of the record, I think the bass stands out the most. The guitars are kind of scraggly in the background, pan pretty heavily. They're a bit buried. And then the other thing is Guy's voice.
I was gonna say it's the most obvious, but it like his vocal performance is insane to me.
It's rad. It's rad.
Yeah, he does not sing like this in Fugazi at all.
Not at all.
And yeah.
I mentioned on the Fugazi episode that the first thing I heard was 13 songs, and I hated Guy's voice. I fucking and it ruined the record for me when I was like 12 years old. I was like, I hate his voice so much. And then not long later, maybe the same year, I heard this and I was like, I love his voice. Yeah. Why doesn't he do this? Like, this is great.
I think like the wildest one on here is it Haynes Point?
Haynes Point.
That Jesus, that is insane. What he's doing on there.
Great bass lines in that one too.
Yeah.
Also, Deeper Than Inside. I don't know if I would like it better as an opener, but I think it's a lot more memorable than the opener. I don't know, something about that one that stuck with me a lot over the years.
I do think the opener is kind of like I don't want to call it by the numbers, but like you could maybe slip that in a different band where there are other songs on here where you're like that is more unique.
Oh, yeah.
And they have
100%.
more of their own voice.
That's one thing I did have a problem with though is how samey the album gets. And it is a bit, it's not long, but it's for how many of these songs are similar. It's basically all of them except for like 3. And my favorite song by far, without a doubt, Drink Deep. It's the fucking best. It's the fucking best.
Yeah, that's like a lot of people, you don't use the term epic for punk songs usually, but to me that's like a punk rock epic.
Yeah.
It's
almost funky, man. The bass is a powerhouse in that song.
That's probably and I think I bought it up before. That's probably the go-go influence, which was a like funk and soul subgenre that was really popular in DC, and that the punk kids, they would go to punk bands and go-go bands were often on the same bill. So that's probably that go-go influence on there. It's
almost, if it were bad, it would be a sore thumb, but it's definitely, it's like, oh wow, that is not at all like the rest. And then the rest of them are so similar. And I do mean that not just in style, like with it being more funky and slower and heavy, the way it's written. Like most of these songs feel very punky and like I can't even that the Drink Deep is more like, it has like the soul of a hard rock. It has, I keep saying funk, but you know, very pentatonic bass lines. Everything else is way more what you recognize as DC hardcore.
For sure. I think something else that like the first song that like really stood out for me was For Want Of.
Oh yeah, that one. That's like there's a few examples, but that was like the first one. I was like, that's how they inspired emo.
Yes. And
actually put on a little bit of that son bitch.
Yeah. And yeah, if you want to talk, like it's just,
Yep.
you put this in a Tony Hawk game.
Yeah. The only thing difference is the production.
Yeah.
Only thing different, not difference. That's a great chorus.
Yeah, I love. Yeah, this sounds like random, like way he emphasis on certain things. It's just so fucking cool. And you seen the Future Islands performance on?
Yeah.
I mean that is
wacky.
That is completely unhinged. And if listeners have not seen that, look up Future Islands on Letterman, and you're gonna hate it, but you're gonna stew in it, and eventually you'll accept it.
If you hate it, it's because you have no sense of humor. Because I didn't like the music, but I was like, this is the funniest fucking thing I've ever seen.
It is a man who looks like, I call him Toxic Waste Morrissey. This weird emphasis on things, and then in a like synth pop song, this man decides to drop metal vocals.
Yeah, full on growls like at the end of phrases. It's just,
but he doesn't do it on the albums.
No.
And it's why I find some of the albums kind of boring, but like I will watch the shit out of them live.
Yeah.
I will watch the shit. So
I like to think that he like they know he does that, and they made him not do that for the album, but they can't control him live, so he just does it anyway.
That'd be fucking amazing. Also, I found out that dude raps fucking good rapper too.
That is so unusual. He looks like he has unusually hairy forearms. I don't remember it, but I feel like that.
He reminds me of my friend Lee J a little bit. Just a little, but back to this band. So yeah, if you want to talk about emo, I think it's blatantly about crying.
Hey man, we cry sometimes.
We do, and yeah, it hit me in the feels.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I could see why.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's warped and mutated into a monster, but the original, like, I can see why people say that. I can't really like think of too many other punk bands around this time that are singing about crying. So
That's what, yeah, because if you look
like maybe the Replacements, but I don't think anyone would call like the Replacements hardcore.
They were never. They had, the first album was hardcore. After that, they and by this point, by '85, they were something else. They were already like Let It Be. I think came out in '84, so they were a completely different band. But if you look at a lot of the lyrics of earlier DC hardcore, it's not. All of it was very little of it was political, like you'd hear from, I don't know, LA bands or New York bands or whatever.
It was Clash, something like that,
or like Dead Kennedys, or I mean, just picking the obvious ones. Black Flag, maybe Black Flag, not even Black Flag. Dead Kennedys, one Black Flag. Yeah. Anyway, it was all very personal. It was all very my individual struggle. What's happening. I'm a 19-year-old. What the hell is happening in my life right now? So it really just is an extension, more mature version of that, where it's instead of branching out, it went even further inward lyrically, thematically, and all that. Thematically.
And what else? Oh, other way around. That's just like leaning into those hardcore roots, blazing fast song.
So I didn't dig it on first. A lot of this, honestly, on first listen, it was like it just blended all together. The album, at least, it all bled together, and that was one of the songs I was like, I'm going to interchangeable with the rest. On second listen, I was like, I like everything way more. That one definitely stuck with me more on second listen. A lot of it is just the thing of punk and hardcore in general, where anything that's the same tempo and the same energy 5 times in a row and you're not really paying attention to it, you're gonna get bored.
I always come back to the first time I listened to the Minor Threat
complete discography.
Yeah, where like I couldn't really comprehend it because it was also samey. So like I listened to this album a lot, and I'm sure like now that it's on my radar, I'll like maybe have stronger or different feelings down the pipeline. But yes, it happens a lot with Discord bands where it's like you either have to listen to it a lot or it's just not your thing.
Yeah. And this one, I remember when I first heard it when I was real young, and it was my brother Roberts. He bought it, and he played all the time, and I didn't even care for it that much then. And he put on so much that eventually I was like, I can't take it. I don't even like it anymore. I don't even fucking like it anymore. So this, I think my first listen going back to it was scraping off those old feelings of like, it's just this shit over and over again. Sure. And then the second one, I was like, there's nothing wrong with these songs. They're all really good songs. Yeah. The writing is definitely in the same, you could tell it was all written by like the same, obviously the same people, but like, written with the same mood in mind, with only a few variations, but it's still really consistent. Like the only thing I actually objectively do not like is Nudes. It's pretty fucking boring.
I'm like, I can see why this is tacked on at the end.
That was the bonus track?
No.
I mean at the end of the album.
The end of the album. The bonus track is End on End, which
that's right.
Yeah,
I love it. I love it. And then
I guess these are two separate things, but yeah, End on End is kind of a perfect segue from the album to, is it an EP?
It's an EP. It's the All Through a Life.
Yeah, because it's high energy, but you get like parts where they're kind of jammy.
Yeah, pretty jammy.
It's a long song. There's some like noise, and so I think it's a perfect segue into the EP
for sure. Strong. I mean, once again, it's just the bass totally carries that song for me. It's like a lot of dicking around, and it's super long, but somehow it ends up just working, which is just one of those things I can't explain why it works. Just does.
And then the EP I love the EP more than.
So do I. And I thought that was going to be a controversial opinion.
No, I don't think. Yeah,
because I don't think that's I think the consensus is that everyone likes the album better. But this time around, that I felt like everything that was missing in the album that I was hoping would be there was there on the EP.
Yeah, it's so weird because I was like, oh man, I wish they didn't break up, and then I was like, Really, it's just they continued this in Fugazi, pretty much.
Yeah, and I'm so much more happy with Fugazi.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm so grateful we got Fugazi out of this. But with the EP, my the only problem with it really is the title track. I think is a pretty weak opener. I like it as a song, but it feels like, here's the thing, in the compilation, it doesn't matter because you've been listening to the whole thing, so it feels fine. If you were to isolate it and then listen to the EP by itself, I think the title track is not a great opener.
I disagree. I had to look it up. We're talking about All Through Life.
Yeah.
I disagree. It was like a condensed prog rock song.
I think it's a great song.
Yeah.
In terms of an opening track, so that's why I don't like it.
Yeah.
In the context of the whole compilation, it works. It works well.
Yeah, and then I think my second favorite song on there is In Silence.
Words Away.
Yeah,
That's real good.
So fucking good.
The guitar work on that one really made me feel like this is noise rock in spirit. This is like fucking years before noise rock, or a few years before noise rock. It felt like that to me, and also significantly better production. Guitars are way more audible. They're doing more interplay off each other. They're not so much just clanging away.
Yes,
and it feels a lot more even. Guy is reined in. He's not quite as psycho, but it works. I think it still works.
Listen to the album for the vocals, then you listen to the EP for the instruments.
Yeah, that's really it. And another reason I don't love the whole thing in general is because I want, in terms of album flow, the reverse of, I want the full album of these complex songs and then the short EP for the crazy.
Oh yeah.
So lengthwise, I end up just getting fatigued by the end of the album, and then I'm like I'm reinvigorated by the time the EP comes on, but still, it's like I wanted more. I wish there was more of that.
Yeah, but also it's I guess it's not really an issue these days, but if you saw to purchase stuff, it is cool that it's all
on one place. Yeah, and the whole thing together is like 50 minutes. It's nothing.
It is easy.
Super short.
Yeah, I listened to this a lot. So in the lead up to this.
Yeah, this is a super easy one. And also,
and then I guess there's a band called Happy Go Licky.
Yeah.
That's considered like a
spin-off. It's basically this band, but I've only heard one track from them. I've been wanting to hear the record, but never got around to it. I think it's more experimental.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd be down to check it out.
That could be a loose ends, dude.
Oh, it could, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it could just be a full episode, but I think it's more fair to do loose ends. I think it's a short record.
Yeah.
There's so many little spin-off bands that happened during this time period. Like Ian had like 4 of them. I mentioned they had a Skewbald / Grand Union and Egg Hunt. And that was, I don't remember if it was before or after Embrace, but it was in the same time period. And then Happy Go Licky, and then there was is One Last Wish another one?
You tell me.
I forget. I don't know if they shared members, but that name rings a bell. Or maybe that was the name of a record. Nope, I'm done. I'm done talking about it. Yeah. So, because I was already listening to this, I already got all my notes. I wrote a pretty thorough thing. Then I was like, the Rites of Spring. I don't think I've ever listened to the entire thing beginning to end before. So I just went to the original Rites of Spring. And god damn. Because the reason that it jogged my interest is because at the end of End on End, there's like a 10-second clip of a guy literally explaining the plot of the Rites of Spring.
Yeah.
It's like, there's a harvest and they have to have a sacrifice. So they choose a girl and she dances herself to death and then it's done.
Yeah.
I was like, that's a very cool premise for a thing. And I learned about it in college, and I listened to parts of it in college, and I had to learn about Stravinsky and all that. But this time it was like, I get it. Oh, it's weird. And I finally transitioned into the psycho who watches ballets now. So now I guess I'm finally there.
There you go.
Oh Lord. But
I am pretty illiterate about classical music, so
it is a thing where you can't knock anybody for not enjoying it because it's so dense and it's a lot of it. It's like it's super pretentious. It's super duper pretentious.
Yeah.
Especially if you think you're like enlightened for liking it.
Oh no, to me it's just I feel like I should, because it's like I always appreciate where things come from. And so you can always go further and further back down that line. And you would think, as a music junkie, I would want to see how that genre influences things.
Right.
But not so much, I guess.
I got pretty hooked on like classical and romantic stuff. It was like earlier in college where I took like some classes just because I needed the credits, and then I was like, fuck, I really like this. And then I eventually got like hooked on romantic music a lot, like Chopin and Berlioz is pretty fucking rad, and some other people and stuff. And obviously you get to Debussy, which is a little bit later. That was like the transition from romantic to 20th century, and 20th century where shit got fucking weird and really. And I mentioned it like countless times in the past about the really bad experimental people that they just bad, awful, shitty music for the sake of experimentation.
Sure.
And they got their praise as like they have buildings named after them and shit. Like, fuck yourself, you're an idiot.
Yeah, you're just throwing shit at the wall. You're not.
But then you get the ones that were super experimental, but also brilliant composers like Stravinsky, where he pushed it in a way that's like no one was doing that, and it was really abrasive, and people hated it, but it was really musical, and he knew what he was doing, and it was like a lot of like heart went behind it. So Rite of Spring is one of those things where he composed it, and it was very rhythmic and percussive, even though there wasn't any percussion. It was just very aggressive, jagged music, and it was a lot of dissonant notes, a lot of wrong notes in there. It was fucking cacophony.
Yeah.
But also had moments where it was like, that's fucking gorgeous.
Yeah, moments of beauty.
And the people did not respond well. The people did not, because the fucking...
It's so funny always hearing about things that cause like riots and stuff, because like I don't think I could like view or hear anything that would make me want to.
It's the dumbest thing to hear or see something and be like, I need to fucking break something, and then hit the guy next to you.
Yeah,
it's absolutely insane. And even this one, it was mostly, I think, instigated by the choreography, because there's a lot of it was lost because the performance bombed so horribly that they stopped putting it on. So the choreography was lost for decades, and then people reconstructed it. And that's what I watched. So it's like close enough to the original. It's not exactly, but
sure.
What is exactly the original, if anything, so who gives a fuck? But there was a lot of stomping. There's a lot of like, it was really aggressive, and people were just like, they either thought it was ridiculous and stupid, so they mocked it, or they were like, fuck, this sucks.
Yeah.
So you get the audience of like half of them were pretentious ballet snobs, and the other half was like a bunch of beatniks, and they were fighting with each other over it.
Yeah.
So it's like a bunch of fucking mouth breathers, man.
Oh man, that's what it was. All right.
Yeah, but it's real. It's for the sake of history. Everyone should check it out, but I don't expect to like it. Like unless you really are already into that kind of those compositions, which I am though. But there's some stuff that I think is, even if you're not really into classical and Baroque and all that shit, it's pretty universal. Like some stuff by Bach is like, you can't deny how fucking cool that is. Like
there's a reason some stuff is used over and over again in movies.
I don't even mean the stuff that's used. Some of that stuff for sure. Like if you take out the association with all these dramatic movies, and then it's still good. But some stuff like I think it's Little Fugue by Bach. It's like, I remember the first time I heard that, I was like, holy shit, that's like so fucking good. Like just the way it's composed, it's just so brutally complex and beautiful. And then I sound like such a fucking blowhard, but other stuff by Chopin where you hear it in movies, and then some of the stuff you don't hear in movies, like this is just as good. Like
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot to be had there without having to wear a monocle and a tuxedo. You can
Yeah. This is a fan of music.
Exactly. And you could also enjoy Rites of Spring. Yes. Also, it's all music, baby. It's all music.
It's all music. Join us in like 10 years when we'll do classical music and jazz.
Man, I'm not ready for jazz. Just so much.
I threw something up there because I was like, now that we do 2-parters.
Oh,
but you shot. Yeah, you're like, no, I can't. I'm like, maybe down.
One day we'll
way down the line. Yeah,
it will happen. These things will happen. It's just goddamn. the fact that we keep prioritizing little bands like this is also pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
It's who we like. It's cool.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I also like when I go to the YouTubes and there's not really in-depth discussions or history on bands, and we're the only ones. So
That is, it's almost a badge of honor. Honestly.
It is. Even if it only gets us like 200. I don't care. I'm like, we were the first.
First. At least that. And if you don't agree with us, make your own video, and then there'll be 2, but we'll still be first.
Yes, we'll still get recommended in the algorithm.
Oh, that algorithm is fucking. Oh God, I hate it. Hate it, but it's important. But I hate it.
Yes.
Leave comments because it helps, but I hate it.
One day the rhythm's gonna get you.
One day, Gore's rhythm. Lord Almighty. I don't remember how they broke up. Rites of Spring. I don't read on the whole.
Oh, I didn't read the whole thing. Yeah, that they broke up, and
I don't think there was a specific reason that I read about. I think that the thing that I did read was like they were such a they were a supernova essentially. They burned so bright that they just crumbled because they were destroying their equipment at shows.
Sure.
And it wasn't like a rock star thing. These guys were fucking dirt poor living in DC.
Yeah.
They're not going to replace that.
No. There's slap some duct tape on there at best.
Fucking hey, man. Oh, man. Like, that just gives me horrible flashbacks of playing shitty backyard gigs and having to borrow equipment and just hoping that someone would say yes.
Yeah.
Because these days, it's an automatic, like, no.
As an adult,
not.
no.
Fuck
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Bring your own instruments, you idiot.
Yeah.
The kids are.
Yeah, the one backyard show I did I think I forgot my rack tom, and I had to.
Oh man.
Which I don't know how that happens. I guess there's a lot of pieces of drums. And
what it is when you're not used to packing, you forget stuff, and
also,
all equipment is just packing for one night.
Also, your boy had an 8-piece drum kit. I was not trying to take that whole thing.
That's too big. That is far too big.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
It's so fun though.
I love the feeling of playing drums when you feel like you can never run out of toms.
Oh yeah.
just for an hour, just going around in a circle.
Just forever fills.
Oh shit. What was it? What the hell was I gonna say? Yeah, there were a few times that I had that I reluctantly let people borrow my shit, and I think that good karma came around full circle. I think it was years ago now. It was the band that I had. In the middle of the first song, I busted my E string, my low E string, which is, let's just say, very essential in most songs when playing on a guitar.
Yes.
First song, busted it, and I was like, this is not good.
Yeah.
This is a bad time. But for some reason, I didn't panic. I was like, and you guys got a string, and one guy just pulls out a brand new E string, and I just strung it up on the spot.
Nice.
Save the show. I was like, God damn.
What are the odds?
Some people are just there to help.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just fuck. I miss shows. I miss playing shows, like shitty shows. Not for the reasons, like,
not for the shitty reasons.
not for, in a way, for the shitty reasons, just so I can have the story later. Like, because in the moment, it's awful. But I've gone through so many god awful performances that just the panic is gone.
Yeah.
Well, at least at this time of this, I might retract that statement later on. But when enough bad things, when enough of the worst case scenario happens on stage, you become like a fucking stoic old grizzled vet.
Yeah, you're numb to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just got a 1,000-yard stare wherever I go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking fuck my shit up. Do your worst.
Don't do your worst. I'm rusty. I need fucking ease back into it. But we might as well wrap since we dissected this some bitch. It's a classic. It's not for everyone, but goddamn, if you're into any kind of punk, this is such an essential step in the evolution.
Yes, or if you have a preference of Rites of Spring over Embrace or vice versa, let us know.
Actually,
what you think.
Dude, argue. You are, for once, argue amongst yourselves about
yourselves,
because we've already done it.
Yes,
we've already done it. Oh, I love Embrace so much. Yeah, but this is good shit. Everyone check it out, and especially fans of Fugazi and all that. If you, I can't imagine any Fugazi fans haven't gone to this. It would seem
I mean,
insane.
I haven't.
That's right. So they are.
Yeah.
They do exist. But anyway, thank you all so much for listening and watching and hanging out and supporting and being super cool and friendly and not at all talking shit to us in the comment. You're all wonderful. If you want to support us further, you can share with friends and you subscribe and leave ratings on iTunes. I don't even care at this point. Just keep watching.
Spread the
Just
word.
Keep watching.
Spread the word.
Yeah, baby. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitch, and Twitter. Everything at PanderMonkey. You can follow Alex on Instagram at
Mother puncture.
Hell yes. You can also, for real support, patreon.com/every bonus episodes, early access to certain episodes, like we said, discounts off merch, and of course, you get to hop the line so you don't wait for us to not get to your request. And I think that's about it.
Yep. And yeah, I think the only song to play is Drink Deep.
I think you are a good man.
Yes.
Hell yeah. So thank you all so much for listening and watching. I almost said it again.
Watching it.
Watching it. See ya.